Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by telling you a story. It's a story that many of you might have lived. You know that moment when you've poured your heart and soul into something, only to see it ignored or dismissed by someone you deeply care about. You've put in the effort, you've been patient, you've tried to show your worth, but still there is no recognition. The value you know you have feels invisible, and it's a painful, frustrating experience. It's natural to feel angry, disappointed, or even resentful in those moments. After all, we are all human. We thrive on acknowledgement, appreciation, and the feeling that we matter to the people around us. We want to know that our contributions, our love, our time, and our energy are worth something to those we give them to. But here's the hard truth sometimes: no matter how much we give, we don't receive the recognition we deserve. So what do? Do we shut down? Do we give up? Do we pull back and stop caring? I'm here to tell you today that the answer is no. You don't have to shut down. You don't have to give up. And you certainly don't have to stop caring. Instead, I want to share with you something far more powerful than seeking validation from others. It's a shift that can change everything. It's a trick, a simple yet profound shift in how you see the situation, how you see yourself, and how you see others. This trick won't just help you handle situations where you feel undervalued, it will also transform the way you approach every single relationship in your life. Now let's break it down. The first step in this process is recognizing one simple thing: you do not need external validation to know your worth. Let me repeat that because it's important. You do not need external validation to know your worth. I know you might think that the only way to feel valued is through someone else's acknowledgement, but that's not true. Your worth is not determined by the opinion of others. It's not about what they see in you or what they acknowledge. It's about how you see yourself, how you value yourself, and how much you believe in your own potential. When you stop depending on others to define your value, you free yourself. You stop handing over the power of your own self-worth to people who may not even recognize it. Think about this for a moment. If you're always waiting for others to tell you that you matter, what happens when they don't? What happens when they don't see your value or appreciate your contributions? Does that mean you are less valuable? Of course not. But when you tie your self-worth to their acknowledgement, you let them control how you feel about yourself. I want you to shift that narrative today. I want you to step into the power that comes with knowing who you are. The trick here is simple. Instead of focusing on how others treat you, focus on how you treat yourself. Focus on your inner dialogue, on your self-talk, and on how you treat yourself in your daily life. Treat yourself with the respect, love, and admiration you so desperately want to receive from others. When you do this, something miraculous happens. You start to become a magnet for the very things you've been seeking. Think about it. When you value yourself, you begin to radiate that energy. When you walk into a room with the unshakable belief that you matter, that you are valuable, others begin to see it too. Why? Because people are mirrors. They reflect back what you believe about yourself. When you project confidence and self-respect, you'll find that others begin to treat you with the same level of respect and admiration. It's not about manipulating them. It's about elevating yourself to a place where they have no choice but to meet you at that level. Now, I'm not suggesting that you turn a blind eye to people who are genuinely toxic or disrespectful to you. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am suggesting is that you start seeing yourself in a new light, a light that doesn't depend on others for confirmation. This shift is liberating. It allows you to stand tall, no matter who is or isn't in your corner. Next, let's talk about the power of boundaries. When you value yourself, you recognize the importance of protecting your energy. It's crucial that you set healthy boundaries with people, especially those who do not appreciate or respect your worth. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They are about creating space where you can thrive without feeling drained or diminished by others. If you've been in situations where you felt undervalued, you've likely allowed your boundaries to be crossed. You've let others take more than they should, whether it's time, energy, or love. But when you realize your own worth, you begin to establish boundaries that honor your needs, your time, and your energy. You stop overextending yourself for people who don't appreciate you, and you stop allowing others to treat you in ways that are inconsistent with your value. Setting boundaries is one of the most empowering actions you can take. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation. Boundaries are a declaration of self-respect. When you set boundaries with others, you are showing them that you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. And when you do this, you invite more of the respect and appreciation you deserve into your life. Now, I want to take this one step further. What happens when you truly embrace this shift? What happens when you start valuing yourself, setting boundaries, and recognizing that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's opinion? I'll tell you what happens. You become unstoppable. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to validate you is the moment you step into your power. You begin to act with purpose, confidence, and clarity. You make decisions that align with your highest values, not based on what others think or how they might respond. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop shrinking. You stop playing small. And instead, you begin to live fully and unapologetically. This is the magic of valuing yourself. It's not about arrogance or pride. It's about self-assurance. It's about knowing that you have something unique to offer to the world, regardless of whether others acknowledge it. The moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you become a force to be reckoned with. Think about the people who have inspired you in your life, the ones who have done great things, the ones who have made an impact. Do you think they waited around for people to tell them they were worthy? Do you think they spent their lives hoping for others' approval? Absolutely not. They understood their worth from the inside out. They believed in themselves even when others didn't, and that's what allowed them to achieve greatness. I want you to take a moment to reflect on your own life. What would happen if you stopped seeking validation from others? What would happen if you began to truly value yourself, regardless of how others treat you? I want you to imagine what your life could look like if you became the source of your own self-worth. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Now, let me ask you this. When someone doesn't value you, why are you giving them the power to define who you are? Why let their opinion become the measuring stick for your worth? Your value is not negotiable. It is inherent in who you are. It is unshakable. The moment you realize this, the moment you stop seeking others' approval, is the moment you step into your true power. Let me tell you something else. You may be in a situation right now where someone doesn't value you, and that's hurting you. But here's the thing, you don't need them to see your value for you to know it. You don't need them to acknowledge your worth for you to live like someone who knows they are worthy. This is the simple trick, the one thing that will change everything. Take the power back. Stop waiting for them to tell you that you matter. Start telling yourself that you matter. Start acting like you matter. The more you do this, the more the world around you will begin to mirror that belief. And trust me, when you know your worth, when you carry yourself with confidence and self-respect, the right people will start to show up in your life. They will see you for the person you truly are, and they will recognize the value that has always been there. In conclusion, my friends, the key to handling situations where you feel undervalued is not in seeking validation from others. It's in realizing that your worth comes from within. The moment you stop allowing someone else to determine your value is the moment you unlock your true potential. When you know who you are, when you value yourself, you become unstoppable. You become the force that shapes your destiny. And when you do this, you will watch as the world around you begins to change. You will start to attract the respect, love, and opportunities you've always deserved. So I ask you today, are you ready to stop waiting for someone else to value you? Are you ready to start living the life that you deserve, one where you are the one who defines your worth? The speech emphasizes that you do not need external validation to know your own value. True self-worth is built from within based on your own beliefs and self-respect, rather than relying on others to acknowledge your worth. Setting healthy boundaries is key to maintaining your self-respect and protecting your energy. By establishing boundaries, you take control of how others treat you and prevent being drained by people who do not value you. When you truly value yourself, you stop waiting for others to affirm your worth. This shift empowers you to live confidently, make purposeful decisions, and attract the respect and opportunities you deserve. Your self-worth comes from within, and understanding this principle is one of the most liberating realizations you will ever experience. Far too often, we look outside ourselves for validation, seeking approval from others to feel good about who we are. We tie our value to the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others, whether they come from family, friends, colleagues, or society at large. The problem with this approach is that it places our worth in the hands of others, giving them the power to dictate how we see ourselves. When we let others define our value, we relinquish control over our own lives and allow external factors to shape our emotional state. This cycle can be exhausting. You might find yourself constantly seeking approval, hoping for recognition, or attempting to meet the expectations set by others. You may even feel like your entire sense of self is tethered to how others perceive you. In this mindset, if someone praises you, you feel elated, but if someone criticizes you or overlooks you, you can feel deflated, unsure, or even worthless. This constant emotional roller coaster erodes your sense of stability and peace, leaving you vulnerable to the whims of those around you. The truth is, this way of living is not only exhausting but also unsustainable. When you rely solely on external validation, your self-worth becomes fragile, susceptible to the judgments and opinions of others. At the core of this struggle is the misconception that our worth is determined by how others perceive us or by external factors like achievements, possessions, or appearance. While it is natural to seek connection, recognition, and success, it's crucial to realize that these things don't define who you are as a person. Your worth is inherent in you, not dependent on external accomplishments or what others think. You are valuable simply because you exist. You are valuable because of your unique experiences, your inherent potential, and the qualities that make you who you are. These internal characteristics are far more meaningful and enduring than any external measure of success or approval. The process of internalizing this understanding takes time and intentional effort. It requires a shift in perspective from seeking validation outside of yourself to recognizing your intrinsic worth. This is not about developing arrogance or conceit. Rather, it's about acknowledging your humanity, your unique qualities, and the strength you possess within. When you begin to recognize that your worth is not defined by others, you start to see the world in a different light. You no longer feel the need to compare yourself to others or measure your worth against arbitrary standards. Instead, you can begin to define yourself on your own terms. This shift requires you to develop a sense of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the ability to embrace all parts of yourself, even the parts you might feel insecure about or wish to change. It means accepting your flaws, your mistakes, your imperfections, and recognizing that they are part of what makes you whole. It's easy to love the parts of yourself that are easy to show off or that fit society's standards of beauty or success, but true self-acceptance involves loving all aspects of yourself, those that are seen and those that are seen and those that are hidden. It involves embracing your vulnerability, your doubts, and your fears and recognizing that they do not diminish your worth. In fact, it's often through our struggles and challenges that we discover our deepest strengths. When you learn to accept yourself fully, you empower yourself to stand firm in your own worth, regardless of external opinions. An important part of developing this internal sense of worth is practicing self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience, especially during times of difficulty or failure. Instead of being your harshest critic, you learn to speak to yourself with the same compassion and empathy that you would offer to a friend in need. This practice helps to reinforce the idea that your value does not depend on perfection or the absence of mistakes. You are worthy simply because you are human, and every experience, both good and bad, contributes to your growth. Another key aspect of recognizing your inherent worth is learning to trust your instincts and decisions. When you rely on the approval or validation of others, you may start second-guessing yourself or questioning your choices. You may feel paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong decision, worried that others might not agree or approve of your actions. But when you understand that your worth comes from within, you begin to trust your own judgment. You trust that you are capable of making the best decisions for yourself, even if they don't align with the expectations of others. Trusting yourself creates a sense of inner peace, knowing that you have the wisdom and strength to navigate life's challenges on your own terms. As you build this internal sense of self-worth, you also develop resilience. Life will inevitably bring challenges, setbacks, and moments of disappointment. If your worth is tied to the approval of others, these moments can feel like personal failures. You might feel worthless, rejected, or invisible, but when your self-worth is rooted in who you are rather than in how others see you, you are able to bounce back more easily from adversity. Instead of viewing setbacks as a reflection of your value, you see them as opportunities for growth and learning. You understand that your worth remains constant no matter what happens externally. This resilience allows you to move through difficult times with grace and confidence, knowing that you are not defined by your circumstances or the opinions of others. It's also important to recognize that when you internalize your worth, you stop settling for less than you deserve. When you constantly seek validation from others, you may accept treatment that doesn't align with your values or self-respect. You might tolerate relationships that drain you or situations that leave you feeling undervalued. But when you understand your inherent worth, You set higher standards for yourself. You begin to demand the respect, kindness, and love that you deserve. You stop compromising your values or settling for situations that don't honor who you are. This shift in mindset allows you to attract healthier, more fulfilling relationships because you are no longer willing to accept anything less than what you deserve. Recognizing your internal worth also helps you to break free from the trap of comparison. In a world where social media often highlights the most polished, idealized versions of people's lives, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others. You might look at someone else's success, appearance, or relationships and feel like you fall short in comparison. But when you recognize that your worth is not dependent on comparisons, you stop measuring yourself against others. You begin to appreciate your own journey, recognizing that your path is unique and valuable in its own right. You understand that everyone's life unfolds in different ways, and someone else's success does not diminish your own. Comparison fades away as you begin to focus on your own growth and progress, not on how you stack up against others. The more you internalize this understanding of your self-worth, the more you begin to live authentically. When you are no longer seeking validation or approval, you can make decisions that align with your true values, desires, and goals. You stop trying to fit into a mold or live according to someone else's expectations. Instead, you start living for yourself. This authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are confident in who they are, who live according to their values, and who embrace their true selves without fear or hesitation. By living authentically, you not only experience greater fulfillment, but also inspire others to do the same. In conclusion, your self-worth is an internal construct, not something that is dictated by the opinions or actions of others. When you internalize this truth, you break free from the constant need for external validation and begin to live from a place of inner confidence and peace. You learn to accept yourself fully, trust your own judgment, and set boundaries that protect your energy. This shift empowers you to live authentically, attract healthier relationships, and navigate life's challenges with resilience. Ultimately, the key to unlocking your true potential lies in understanding that your worth is inherent and not dependent on anything outside of yourself. When you embrace this truth, you step into a life of limitless possibility and empowerment. The power of boundaries is a concept that is often misunderstood, but it is one of the most transformative and empowering tools you can adopt in your life. Many of us grow up learning that being kind, helpful, and accommodating to others is a virtue, and while those are important qualities, we rarely learn the importance of setting boundaries. Boundaries are not about being rude or selfish, nor are they about creating walls between yourself and others. Instead, they are about self-preservation, respect, and honoring your needs while still engaging with the world around you. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most loving and self-respecting things you can do for yourself. When you don't set boundaries, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, resentful, or even lost in your relationships and obligations. You might find yourself giving too much of your time and energy to others while neglecting your own needs, desires, and personal well-being. This can lead to burnout, frustration, and a loss of self-identity. If you're constantly prioritizing others over yourself, you may end up feeling like you're not even sure who you are anymore. But when you learn to set and enforce boundaries, you begin to take control of your life in a way that honors your personal space, your values, and your sense of self. Boundaries are essentially the limits we set for ourselves and others in terms of what is acceptable and what is not. These limits are not meant to isolate us from others, but to define the space in which we can interact with them in a healthy, balanced way. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, mental, or even spiritual, and they vary from person to person. Some people might feel the need to set strict boundaries in terms of personal space, while others might need to establish boundaries around how much they share emotionally or how much energy they give to others. The key is to recognize that your boundaries are valid and necessary to ensure that you protect your time, energy, and well-being. The power of boundaries lies in their ability to create clear distinctions between you and others. Without boundaries, it's easy to get caught up in other people's needs, wants, and expectations, often to the detriment of your own. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. If you are constantly available, constantly giving, and constantly putting others' needs ahead of your own, you send the message that your time and energy are limitless. However, when you set boundaries, you are teaching others to respect your time and needs as much as you respect theirs. One of the first steps in setting boundaries is recognizing that you have a right to take up space. So often, We allow ourselves to be pushed aside, thinking that by being agreeable or accommodating, we will be liked or accepted. We worry that if we say no or stand up for ourselves, others might think we are selfish, rude, or unkind. But this mindset only leads to resentment, fatigue, and frustration. When you respect your own needs, you give others permission to do the same. By asserting your boundaries, you show the world that you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. How many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear conflict or rejection? The thought of disappointing someone or having to say no can feel incredibly uncomfortable. We may worry that setting a boundary will make others angry, hurt, or push them away. However, the truth is that by not setting boundaries, you may be inadvertently causing more harm than good. When you don't speak up for yourself, you end up feeling resentful, and this can create an underlying tension in your relationships. Over time, this tension can lead to more significant problems. You may find that you become emotionally drained, resentful, or even disengaged from those around you because you feel your needs are consistently ignored. Learning how to say no is one of the most important skills in boundary setting. It is not about rejecting others or being unkind. It is about protecting your time and energy so that you can be the best version of yourself. When you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are making room for what truly matters, whether that is time for yourself, time with loved ones, or time for your passions and goals. Saying no is a powerful act of self-respect, and it allows you to preserve your energy for the things that are aligned with your values and purpose. It can be difficult at first, especially if you are not used to saying no, but with practice, it becomes easier and more natural. The next step in boundary setting is understanding that your needs are valid. Your needs, desires, and feelings are just as important as anyone else's. It's common to put others' needs first, especially if you have a tendency to be a people pleaser or caretaker. However, by constantly ignoring your own needs in favor of others, you are diminishing your sense of self-worth and depleting your emotional and physical reserves. You have the right to prioritize your own well-being without feeling guilty or selfish. In fact, taking care of yourself allows you to be more present and supportive to others because you are not running on empty. One powerful practice in setting boundaries is recognizing that it's okay to be uncomfortable. Setting boundaries often feels uncomfortable at first, especially if you are not used to asserting yourself. You may feel guilty or worried about how others will react. But here's the truth: discomfort is a sign of growth. When you are uncomfortable with setting boundaries, it means you are stepping outside your comfort zone and challenging old habits and beliefs. Over time, as you continue to set and enforce your boundaries, the discomfort will lessen, and you will gain more confidence in your ability to protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Another essential aspect of setting boundaries is understanding that not everyone will respect them right away. Some people may test your boundaries, push back against them, or try to make you feel guilty for asserting yourself. This is a natural part of the process, and it's important to stay firm in your convictions. If someone disregards your boundaries, it is not a reflection of your worth or the validity of your needs. It is a reflection of that person's inability to respect your boundaries. In these situations, it's important to reinforce your boundaries calmly but firmly. Over time, people will learn that you are serious about your boundaries, and they will begin to respect them. Setting boundaries also requires being mindful of the energy you give to others. We live in a world that often demands more and more of our time and energy, and it can be easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of responsibilities, obligations, and demands from others. But when you are constantly giving, without taking time to replenish your own energy, you risk burnout. You risk becoming resentful, disconnected, and overwhelmed. By setting clear boundaries, you ensure that you are not overextending yourself and that you have the space to take care of your own needs. The power of boundaries extends beyond just protecting your own time and energy. It also helps to foster healthier and more respectful relationships. When you set boundaries, you create a space in which both you and the other person can be honest and authentic. Healthy boundaries allow for clear communication, mutual respect, and understanding. They help to create relationships that are based on equality, where both parties are able to honor each other's needs and limits. As you begin to set boundaries, it's important to remember that it's a process. It's not something that happens overnight, and it may take time for you to fully understand and articulate your limits. But as you practice setting boundaries and reinforcing them, you will become more skilled at recognizing when your needs are not being met and when it's time to take action. Boundaries will become a natural part of your life, and you will experience a profound sense of empowerment and freedom. The true power of boundaries lies in the balance they create between honoring yourself and engaging with others in a healthy way. They allow you to protect your own well-being while maintaining meaningful, respectful relationships. When you set boundaries, you are not closing yourself off from the world. You are simply creating a space where you can exist fully without compromise. This is one of the most powerful gifts you can give yourself and those around you. How you navigate the world, make decisions, and interact with others. It influences the relationships you form, the career paths you pursue, and how you handle the challenges life throws your way. When you genuinely value yourself, you step into a place of power where you are no longer dependent on external validation or approval. Instead, you tap into a well of internal strength that guides you with confidence and clarity, allowing you to make choices aligned with your true desires and purpose. At the core of self-valuation is the understanding that your worth is inherent. It is not something that can be earned or taken away based on circumstances or the opinions of others. Too often, people tie their self-worth to external achievements, material possessions, or social status. While these things may bring temporary satisfaction, they do not provide lasting fulfillment or a sense of true empowerment. Your value does not fluctuate based on how well you perform at work or whether you are in a romantic relationship or not. You are valuable simply because you exist, and when you embrace this truth, you unlock a profound sense of inner peace and strength. The power of self-valuation lies in the shift it creates in your mindset. When you truly value yourself, you begin to see yourself as deserving of the best life has to offer. You stop settling for less than you deserve, whether in relationships, career, or other areas of life. You become less afraid of taking risks because you trust your ability to handle whatever comes your way. With self-valuation, fear of failure is no longer a barrier to progress because you know that your worth is not tied to any specific outcome. You can try, fail, learn, and try again without letting it diminish your self-esteem. This sense of internal security gives you the courage to pursue your passions, embrace opportunities, and live life on your own terms. One of the first steps in developing self-valuation is recognizing and releasing negative self-talk. Many people have a tendency to be their own harshest critics, constantly questioning their abilities, appearance, or worth. This inner dialogue can be debilitating, keeping you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and insecurity. The truth is, the way you speak to yourself shapes how you see yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough or that you don't deserve success, you begin to believe it. On the other hand, when you consciously choose to speak kindly to yourself, to acknowledge your achievements, and to focus on your strengths, you start to shift your perception of yourself. This is not about developing arrogance or ignoring areas of improvement, but rather about recognizing and celebrating your inherent value, regardless of any imperfections or setbacks. The practice of self-valuation also involves accepting yourself fully with all of your strengths and weaknesses. No one is perfect, and the idea of perfection often leads to frustration, disappointment, and shame. When you value yourself, you accept that you are a work in progress, constantly evolving and growing. You embrace your flaws as part of what makes you uniquely you. This acceptance is liberating because it allows you to stop comparing yourself to others or feeling like you need to meet some external standard of success. You can focus on your own growth and journey, free from the pressure to conform to anyone else's expectations. Another powerful aspect of self-valuation is learning to trust yourself. When you value yourself, you trust that you are capable of making decisions that are in your best interest. Self-trust is essential because it helps you navigate the inevitable challenges and uncertainties of life. Instead of second-guessing yourself or seeking constant reassurance from others, you can rely on your intuition and judgment. Trusting yourself also means acknowledging that mistakes are part of the process. No one is immune to making errors, but when you value yourself, you know that a mistake doesn't define you. It is simply an opportunity for growth, and you are capable of learning and adapting from every experience. Empowerment comes from within, and self-valuation is the key to unlocking that power. When you recognize your worth, you stop waiting for external validation or permission to take action. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to others or seek approval from people who may not have your best interests at heart. You begin to make choices based on what aligns with your true values, not based on what others expect from you. This level of self-awareness and clarity is incredibly empowering because it allows you to make decisions with confidence and conviction.